Today, we've got inside buzz, bold decisions, and a move that could change the Chargers' season. There's speed potentially arriving, a giant piece for the passing game on the radar, a defensive shakeup that hits the locker room, and an urgent alert on the offensive line. Sounds like hype? Just wait to see how these pieces connect and what they reveal about Jim Harbaugh's plan right now. Would you take a risk today for a real shot at January dominance? You won't believe what we've got today. So sit back, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. NFL insiders are buzzing, and Jalen Wright's name is now directly linked to the Los Angeles Chargers. A rumor that started quietly has grown fast, and it has everything to become a strategic move. The young Miami Dolphins running back, a fourth-round pick in 2024, could be headed to Los Angeles in a low-risk trade with huge potential return. According to ESPN-linked chatter, the Chargers have officially appeared on the radar as a possible destination, and the speculated package would look like a 2026 sixth-round pick, a symbolic price for a player with that much burst. And that's exactly what the Chargers' offense needs: dynamism. With the current running back rotation dealing with injuries and inconsistency, the backfield has become a question mark. Wright, known for his absurd acceleration and vertical one-cut style, would perfectly complement Harbaugh's scheme. He's the kind of runner who can turn a 3-yard play into a 60-yard touchdown, and that completely changes how defenses have to align against Justin Herbert. It's a piece that adds instant danger to every snap. What stands out most, though, is the cost benefit. Wright is still on his rookie deal, giving the team a young, blazing fast, and inexpensive player, a rarity on a roster that already includes well-paid stars. Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz have talked about financial balance with athletic efficiency, and Wright fits that philosophy perfectly. At Tennessee, he showed he can run between the tackles, reads zone well, and, most importantly, can contribute as a pass catcher. That type of versatility is gold in the modern NFL, especially in a conference loaded with fast, aggressive defenses. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. Wright dealt with a minor leg issue during Miami's training camp, raising questions about his game day readiness. Plus, the Dolphins' backfield committee is crowded, which has limited the rookie's early opportunities. Even so, that's exactly the scenario that can grease the wheels of a trade. The classic win-win. Miami clears space, and the Chargers make a low-cost bet on a player with a sky-high ceiling. If it happens, the deal would signal that the Chargers aren't just thinking about the present, but about building a roster capable of a deep playoff run. It's a smart, surgical move with Jim Harbaugh's competitive DNA written all over it. And the most interesting part? Fans already seem on board. Forums and timelines are full of comments like, "He's the kind of player this offense needs," and "That's peak Harbaugh, betting on raw talent." And that's not even the most exciting part of the day. The mood in Los Angeles has flipped. After a promising start with 3 straight wins, the Chargers stumbled in 2 consecutive games and exposed a problem that worries both fans and the coaching staff. The offense simply hasn't cracked 30 points. And for a team led by Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, that's a red alert. The head coach has made it clear, albeit subtly, that he's unhappy with the lack of explosive plays. And in the last few hours, a heavy-hitting name started echoing through Costa Mesa: Mark Andrews. Yes, the 3-time Pro Bowl tight end from the Baltimore Ravens could be entering the Chargers' radar. Bleacher Report's Alex Kay floated the possibility of Los Angeles offering a 2026 sixth-round pick to try to make a deal. And it tracks. With the Ravens wobbling and flirting with a mini reset, Andrews, now in the final year of his contract, would be a valuable trade chip. At 30, he's still one of the most productive players at the position, with 17 catches, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns in just 5 games this season. Last year, he punched in 11 touchdowns and was a central piece of Lamar Jackson's attack. Harbaugh knows the value of a dominant tight end. In his system, the TE isn't just a receiver. He's the hinge that connects the ground game to the air attack, the safety valve that balances the field. Andrews, in that sense, would be the perfect complement for Herbert, who's been missing a reliable middle-of-the-field target. Tyler Conklin and rookie Oronde Gadsden, too, are trying to hold down the fort, but together they have fewer than 160 yards and 0 touchdowns. The lack of a playmaker at the position has limited the offense on 3rd downs and in the red zone, 2 critical areas in those recent losses. What heats things up further is the potential competition. The Seattle Seahawks, led by Mike McDonald, former Ravens defensive coordinator, are also reportedly interested in bringing Andrews in for a family reunion in Seattle. That's where the back-channel game gets intense. Harbaugh and McDonald vying for the same player, both former Ravens coaches, both leading teams with big 2025 dreams. But Harbaugh isn't only eyeing offense. While the rumor mill spins, the team made a concrete and powerful move on defense. In a trade that surprised a lot of people, the Chargers acquired pass rusher Odafe Owe, also from the Ravens, sending safety Alohi Gilman and a future pick the other way. It's a heavy reinforcement for a front that's been hurting without Khalil Mack and struggling to generate quarterback pressure. Owe arrives with 6 sacks in 5 games and brings an explosive energy reminiscent of Mack at his peak. Harbaugh didn't hold back. He's a direct rusher, fast, with length, strength, and discipline. A guy in his prime who can change games. In other words, exactly the type of player he loves. And the fit is seamless. Owe will line up opposite Tuli Tuipulotu, forming a young, aggressive edge duo. With him on the field, the Chargers' pass rush goes from weakness to real threat. It's the kind of bold move that lifts an entire locker room's morale. Meanwhile, the Ravens' secondary gains depth with Gilman and veteran C.J. Gardner-Johnson, plus rookie Malachi Starks, who's flashing potential. It's a trade where both sides get something they needed, but it leaves no doubt about one thing. Jim Harbaugh wants to win now. The offense needs firepower. The defense is being upgraded. And in the middle of it all, Mark Andrews' name keeps echoing down the halls. If that connection actually happens, the Chargers can go from promising to dangerous in a heartbeat. But hold on, because the story doesn't stop there. There's an internal issue that could change everything, and it's right on the front line. The big question in Los Angeles right now is, how do you protect Justin Herbert? The quarterback is the heart of the team, but the body, meaning the offensive line, is increasingly banged up. Losing Rashawn Slater for the season was already a gut punch. Now, with rookie Joe Alt dealing with an ankle sprain, things have turned critical. The image of the young tackle limping off last week made every fan's heart skip a beat. The good news is he's already out of the walking boot, per ESPN, which signals meaningful progress. The bad news? He should still miss this week's matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Alt was one of the team's marquee investments in the 2024 draft. An elite talent from Notre Dame with refined technique and a mature mindset. The plan was for him to form a wall with Slater, protecting Herbert for a decade. Plans changed fast. Slater went down, Mekhi Becton couldn't string together a consistent stretch of games, and Alt was forced into bigger responsibilities than expected, until he got hurt too. The Chargers' offensive line, already wobbling, is now on the brink. Austin Deculus, filling in for Alt, has struggled mightily. Pressures are coming from everywhere. The pocket collapses often, and Herbert, agile as he is, can't keep the pace. The numbers are alarming. In the last 2 games, the team allowed 11 sacks and north of 20 pressures. That explains why the offense stalled, even with solid Harbaugh play calling and attempts to mix things up. The staff knows the margin for error is thin. Trey Pipkins, the swing tackle who should have been the natural alternative, was moved to right tackle after Slater's injury. That left side turned into a jigsaw puzzle. OL coach Tim Drevno has tried combinations with Jamari Sallier, Foster Sarell, and even the bold possibility of sliding Mekhi Becton to the left temporarily. Nothing is off the table. The impact goes beyond protecting Herbert. Without a steady line, the run game loses rhythm, which directly hurts the efficiency of play action, one of Harbaugh's favorite weapons. The result is a more predictable offense, making defenders' jobs easier. Ironically, the ideal solution might connect back to the previous story. If the team actually lands Jalen right, adding a speedback could help mask some OL flaws. A more dynamic run game can ease the heat on the quarterback and buy time for Alt to heal fully. For now, the encouraging sign is that Alt wasn't placed on injured reserve, which suggests the team expects a quicker return. The most optimistic outlook has him back in Week 7 against the Indianapolis Colts. If not, the next target is Week 8 on a short week against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday night. Even so, the alarm stays on. Harbaugh knows his physical, disciplined identity depends on a solid foundation in the trenches. And fans know, without a stable line, no star survives for long. At every practice, all eyes are on one simple but powerful image. Joe Alt back out there, helmet strapped, lining up to protect his quarterback. But while the focus is on injuries and line shuffling, a quiet change inside the roster is about to pick up steam, and it might reveal the Chargers' next big defensive breakout. Tuesday in Los Angeles was one of those days that change a locker room's vibe. In a bold, increasingly rare NFL move, the Chargers completed a player-for-player trade with the Ravens. Out went safety Alohi Gilman, in came pass rusher Odafe Owe, plus a swap of future picks. At first glance, it looks like just another technical adjustment, but look a little deeper and you'll see what's really happening. Jim Harbaugh is shaping the roster in his image, piece by piece, sending a clear message. No one's spot is guaranteed, but everyone has a chance to shine. Letting Gilman go surprised a lot of people. He was one of the team's most respected leaders, an emotional captain, and a fan favorite. But the coach was direct when he explained the move. First, I want to thank Alohi for everything he meant to this team. He's a great player and a great person. This decision wasn't easy, but we believe it was the best step for both sides. That sums up Harbaugh's philosophy. Honor the past, focus on what's next, and what's next is speed and aggression. Owe is young, explosive, and still ascending. He arrives to inject new juice into the defensive front, especially with Khalil Mack working back from injury. The coach was emphatic comparing him to the veteran. He's a lot like Khalil, fast, strong, disciplined. A guy who gets to the quarterback with intent. That's exactly what Los Angeles' defensive system needed. More depth, more rotation, more constant threat. There's another intriguing ripple effect. With Gilman's departure, a new name steps into the light. Rookie R.J. Mickens. Drafted out of Clemson, he'd been waiting his turn, contributing only on special teams in the early weeks. Now, with a spot open, he'll be in the main safety rotation. Harbaugh didn't hide his excitement. He's been putting in the work, learning the system. He's got range, sideline-to-sideline speed, and the intelligence to read the game. He's ready to help behind the scenes. Word is, Mickens' preseason left the staff fired up. His PFF grade ranked among the defense's top 3, showing instinct and energy. Now he gets to prove it under the lights, starting against the Dolphins, one of the fastest offenses in football. A baptism by fire, no doubt, but exactly the kind of challenge that forges the players Harbaugh values most. Moves like this show how the coach's philosophy is taking root. It's not just about big names, it's about culture. He wants an intense, competitive team with young guys willing to grab the spotlight. And more than ever, fans can feel the shift. Social feeds are full of takes like, Harbaugh's building something different. This team is finding an identity. This defense is about to scare people. And they're right. Owe's arrival balances the scales between offense and defense. Gilman's exit opens the door for a new generation. And Mickens, with his bold style and contagious energy, might be exactly the kind of story that turns a good roster into a tight-knit group. In the end, the trade symbolizes what Harbaugh has preached from day one: constant evolution. He doesn't want a comfortable roster, he wants a hungry team. And if this new mentality takes hold, the Chargers aren't just assembling a competitive squad, they're forging a winning identity. But this is only the beginning, because what comes next in the following weeks could define the true destiny of this season. Take a breath, Bolt Nation. Today we watched a plan take shape. Potential speed in the backfield, a dominant target on the radar, the offensive line on high alert, and a defense supercharged by a hungry rusher. All signs point to a team that refuses to wait. Harbaugh is tweaking the right gears and demanding an immediate response. Now it's on us. Support, pressure, debate. Would you spend a future pick for instant explosion? Do you believe Andrews is the missing piece? Drop a comment, hit like, share with a fellow fan, and subscribe. Tomorrow brings more insider buzz, more analysis, and maybe another surprise. Incredible.